Okay, hi everybody. We're on the air live. I'm Susan Berkley coming to you live from the studios and offices of the Great Voice Company here in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. I am so excited and happy to be with you. You know, it's almost like spring here in New Jersey today. It's a balmy 30 degrees after we've had like sub-zero weather here in the Northeast. So I walked out today. The sun is out. It's a really beautiful winter day, and we're together, and you are all over the world right now listening in, watching us. And I've got a really exciting Google Hangout planned for you today. We're going to go for about around 90 minutes, and I'll probably hang out until all your questions are answered as well. They're coming in right now, and I appreciate that. But you're here to find out about the top 10 best practices for having a thriving voiceover career in 2015. This is kind of my how to make it your best year ever call. And I love doing these calls at the start of every year because the energy is super positive. We're all looking forward to really hitting it out of the park. We've all got our goals, our dreams, our aspirations, and I'm going to deliver. I've got a ton of great stuff to share with you in our time together today. So here's our agenda. I'm going to start out and share those top 10 practices with you that I promised. If you stay to the end of the Hangout, I'm going to tell you how you can get a copy of everything that I'm talking to you about. In other words, I'm going to share my handout with you, my notes that I'm using to bring you this information, and I'm going to tell you that at the end of the Hangout, because I really like to reward people that stick with me, that are ambitious. This is not being recorded. It's a live event. It's a reward for people like you who are very serious about voiceover, and I respect that. It's a craft. It's a fantastic way of making a living, and I really respect that you are our loyal follower. You're a fan. You've been with me probably for a while, and I really respect that. So I want to give you that gift for sticking on the call. You will get a copy of my notes for today's call. Now, so our agenda is I'm going to start with those top 10 best practices. Then we're going to talk about how to get started as soon as next week. We are going to introduce you to the winner of our last Great Voice Challenge, Omar Van Opstal, who is from Chicago, Illinois, and I have got him ready to come on live on this Google Hangout with you in just about 20 minutes, half an hour from now. I want you to meet him and see that our Great Voice Challenge is for real and that people actually can get started. Omar's brand new. He's already working. He's already done an audiobook. He's already got jobs in the pipeline, and I really want you to hear his story because I know it's going to inspire you, and he's standing by to join us as well on today's Google Hangout. I'm going to take your questions, and I want to tell you how you can submit those. It's right here on the page, but I'll just go over it anyway. Questions, please, in writing only. You're going to email those to info@greatvoice.com. Mark will bring them in to me. I've got my door open. You can come in. I've got a couple right here from Michelle Henry of Chicago and James Hernandez of Florida. I'm going to be getting to those questions, Michelle and James, in just a little bit. Then I'm going to talk about the state of the voiceover union, and then we'll talk about how to streamline the process of getting started, even if you're crazy busy, as I know you probably are. So let's jump right in, and let's talk about my top 10 best practices for having a thriving voiceover career in 2015. So is what I think is the best way to build your skills. And it's actually something you can do on your own when you practice. We call it tape and ape around here. Now get paper and pencil out. Take a lot of notes because I've got a lot that I'm going to go over with you right now. So write down tape and ape as my number one best practice. Now what is tape and ape? How does it work? Why does it work? Okay. So the theory is that you really can't practice in a vacuum. So no matter how many hours you spend in your own home, with your studio, with your microphone on, and you're reading, and you're trying to improve your skills, it's just not going to work because you are working in a vacuum. You don't know what's good, what's not good. You actually might even be doing some damage by reinforcing bad habits. So what is tape and ape? Tape and ape means that you listen to professionals in the business and you imitate what they're doing exactly, word by word, line by line, inflection by inflection. And this is the way anybody learns anything, actually. You must stand on the shoulders of somebody who went before you, somebody who's got it all figured out, somebody who's got the skill set down. Musicians, guitar players, for example, will listen to that favorite Santana song or whatever your style of music is and try to copy the greats until you can play their licks. Artists sit in the museums and they sketch and they try to paint the great works of art. Anybody that has achieved success, writers read the great works of literature and fiction. So anybody that's achieved success stands on the shoulders of someone who figured it all out and came before them. So in voiceover, in addition to having coaches like myself, you have the work of working voice talent right at your fingertips. Just turn on the television or radio, and even easier, go to YouTube. YouTube is filled with commercials, filled with them. Turn on the closed caption. There's a button in there for seeing, the writing on the screen, the closed caption for the hearing impaired. And then you record that screen and you practice against a professional that's done this. You get the timing of the spot. Spot is the commercial. You get the timing of the spot and you try to read it exactly as the voiceover read it. Now, if you're thinking, I don't want to sound like somebody else. I can't sound like somebody else. I need to be myself. Well, of course you'll be yourself. No matter what you do, you cannot do an exact voice print or a voice match. But you can learn so much about timing, about inflection, about interpretation by studying what somebody else did. So tape and ape is our #1 best practice for 2015. Number 2 is to warm up your voice daily. So a lot of people forget that your voice is your instrument, and like a singer, like an actor, you really do need to warm it up. And I've got some great suggestions for you to help you do that. The first is, and by the way, these exercises, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 very quick exercises that you can do every day. And these should be done in the shower every morning. And why the shower? Because the warm, moist air is actually excellent for your voice. It's a terrific environment for warming up. And if you just remember, just like you get the soap, you're going to do your vocal warm-ups as well. So the first thing, you're going to lip flutters, and they sound like this. Right? It's fun. Try it with me right now. And you can add a little sound to that. So some people can't do this. If you're having a hard time, take your hands and press in softly like this. So this, and if you practice, you're going to get this. This exercise actually doesn't come from the lips. What you're doing is by having a little bit of tension in the lips, you're creating some resistance against which your vocal folds, your vocal cords will be working. It's a terrific, terrific exercise. So start with these lip flutters. Do those for, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Then you're going to try to get your voice into the facial mask. So the mask is the area that stretches from the sinuses down to the larynx, like in an inverted triangle. And when your voice is in the mask, it's really healthy and it's at your best. So the way to put your voice in the mask is to hum like this. And you should hum and count to 5 like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What a great exercise that is. And that will help you if you're a kind of a person with a very soft voice like that, or your voice is too loud. It helps you modulate your voice. Is actually excellent, excellent for vocal health. So lip flutters, facial mask, humming, and you're going to sing along with the radio too. So on your way to work in the morning, or at some point, while you're putting your makeup on or shaving, turn on the radio, put on some music, and sing along. And that, whether you can sing on tune or not, it doesn't matter. The act of singing, the act of humming, the act of doing those lip flutters is going to warm up your voice. It's fast, it's simple, it's easy. You do it every day, you're going to have a healthier voice. The third thing is to take good care of your instrument. And what do I mean by that? Well, number 1, you need to make sure you hydrate. So here I am sipping water, and I try to drink maybe like 8 glasses, 6 glasses of warm water a day. And, in the winter when it's cold like this, you don't realize how much water you need because you're not actively sweating. Especially in the winter, you want to make sure that you keep your hydration up. Uh, all of us like to drink caffeine. We like tea, we like coffee. Caffeine is extremely dehydrating. So key times we're going to make sure you drink plenty of water are when you wake up in the morning. First thing I do is I will drink 2 big glasses of water, and I will squirt some lemon in there, which will help alkalinize my body. So I'll put some fresh lemon in there. I'm going to drink 2 big glasses of water first thing. And after every time I have a caffeinated beverage like tea or coffee, that's dehydrating. So I'm going to sip water then too. So those are some things that will really help you. Don't wait until right before you record because the water needs time to circulate through your body to hydrate your voice. Don't yell. Yelling is really, really bad for the voice. So it's football season, I think, right? Yeah, we got the Super Bowl coming up. Be careful if you're at a sporting event, you're yelling. Really, really bad for the voice. And heal acid reflux. So a lot of people have acid reflux. They're not aware of it, and some of you are. Acid reflux is a kind of heartburn, and you have it if you feel like your throat a little dry, or sometimes you feel it burning there, or your voice frequently gets hoarse. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I want to encourage you, if you have any kind of voice problem, hoarseness, or you think you might have acid reflux, please see a healthcare professional. Now, there is over-the-counter medication for this. What I love and what I do on a regular basis for this is I don't eat 2 hours before I go to bed. I'll take apple cider vinegar in water is great for me. I eat a very alkaline diet. I take a little baking soda in water, if that happens. Because what was happening to me is I felt my voice getting very dry and a bit hoarse, and that's what was diagnosed. So acid reflux is really important to keep that under control for the health of your voice. The fourth thing, and I'll just review this. So number 1 is tape and ape. Number 2 is warm your voice up daily. Number 3 is take good care of your instrument. And by the way, if you stay to the end of today's Google Hangout, if you're just joining me, I'm going to tell you where you can get a copy of my notes, so you'll have all 10 of the best practices that I'm going through. Number 4 is to set SMART goals for 2015. Now, what is a SMART goal? Well, a SMART goal is a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, results focused, and time bound. Let me talk a little bit about that. A specific goal is a goal where you say, now I am going to have my first voiceover client or do my first job by August of 2015. That's a very specific goal, rather than I'm going to start my voiceover career in 2015. That's a little more general. A measurable goal is that every day I'm going to practice for 20 minutes and I'm going to keep a practice log, or I'm going to make 10 marketing calls a day, etc. That's a measurable goal that I can track. And if you've had a workout plan, or maybe you've been in sales, you know what I mean. Those are measurable goals. They say, and it's true, what doesn't get measured doesn't get done. An achievable goal is, don't have a goal of, I'm going to be the voice of the Grammy Awards this year. It might happen, but that is not an achievable goal. Set a goal that's achievable for you. If your goal is to make, 5 marketing phone calls a day, that's achievable. You just manage your time and yourself, so you pick up the phone and you do it. Do you see what I mean? And then a results-focused goal is that I'm going to stay in touch with a voiceover contact until I get them on the phone or get them to listen to my demo. That's a very specific results-focused goal. Or I'm going to have my demo done in 90 days. That's a results-focused goal. And time-bound means you put just that. You want to put a time on it. So by the end of this month, I will have started, or by the end of next week, I will have taken the steps towards starting my voiceover career. That's what they call SMART goals. And when we do the Great Voice Challenge, which I'll be telling you about in a little bit, I have I baked in lots of ways that you can ensure that your goals are SMART. We have checklists for every part of the challenge, and I hold you accountable to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. So number 5 is, and this was huge for me when I figured this out. Number 5 is read sales and marketing books. Read sales and marketing books. And this is one of those things that's going to really streamline your success that I promised I'd give you. Because when I started out, I thought that to be successful in voiceover, I had to perform and be just a little bit better than everybody else. Well, guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. What really worked for me was becoming and getting good enough with my performing, and then becoming an expert in sales and marketing. And the way that I did that is I didn't go back to school. Unfortunately, I'm a college dropout, so I don't have a marketing degree or anything like that. But what I did was I read books that you can read, great books on sales and marketing, and I actually found mentors like I can be for you, and I studied with them, and I went to workshops and studied with great marketers and great entrepreneurs. Boy, did that streamline my pathway to success. As soon as I did that, everything changed, and the work started to come in. I made a lot of money in voiceover, and that really made a huge, huge difference. So reading sales and marketing books is your ticket out of the commodity trap. Now, what do I mean by that? It's one of our biggest problems in voiceover. I'll be talking a lot about that on today's Hangout. I think we need to get back to analog. What does that mean? Well, analog, some of you are probably too young that you don't even know what that means anymore, but remember records? Remember before we had smartphones and digital phones? Remember when everybody used to read a book? What a concept. Well, now everybody is on those tiny little smartphones. Their heads are down, and people are actually addicted to it, to their detriment. And you know, I meet people that they haven't read a book since high school, and that, my friend, is a tragedy. Have you heard of Jim Rohn? Jim Rohn was America's, he's passed now, but he was America's greatest business philosopher. And his favorite saying was, poor people have big TVs. Successful people have big libraries. I want to tell you a quick story about that. So I heard about the founder of Priceline. You know Priceline, right? On TV, you know, name your price for your travel, and they've got William Shatner as the spokesperson. You all know what Priceline is. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, and the owner of that company is a guy named Jay Walker. What did he do with his millions and millions of dollars? Well, one of the things he did was built one of the world's most exotic and extensive private libraries. I think it's like 3 stories tall. So in his house, he has a phenomenal library. I have a phenomenal business and marketing library. And here's a secret. Here's one of those time hacks and things that I promised you that I do. So if I hear of a good business sales or marketing book, any good book, a book that's going to help me with my mindset, whatever it is, I will first download that book on my Kindle or my e-reader, my Kindle. And then if I like the book, and there's things in there I want to refer to again and again, I actually purchased the hardcover book because sometimes I like to refer back to a specific chapter. I want the hardcover, so I'll buy it on the Kindle first. If I like it, if I don't like it, it's not that much money, and I could just forget about it. But if I really like it, then I buy the hard copy. So I think we should all get back to analog. I think we're way too digital, and you really need to take control and study sales and marketing to be successful. Number 6 is know the enemy. Now, this is really what successful people know that other people don't. So the enemy, guess who the enemy is? It's you, right? So our biggest enemy trying to do voiceover or anything in life is our own resistance to success. And it's not that you're afraid of success. Nobody's afraid of success. We all want it. We resist it. So my mentor from Brazil, Dr. Norberto Kepi, says the hardest thing for us to accept in life is goodness. Think about that. when you think about it, a lot of people, and you probably have tons of examples, if not from your own life, you see it from actors and from famous people. They have everything going for them, and they make some terrible, terrible mistakes that screw everything up, right? That's because the hardest thing, lottery winners, the hardest thing for people to accept is goodness. Doesn't make sense, but it's true. To understand that more, I'm going to recommend a book called The Origin of Illness. The Origin of Illness. It is available in Amazon as a download, as a Kindle book, and you can read and study and learn more about that. Another great book that speaks about resistance is called The War of Art, and it's by Stephen Pressfield. I loved that book. A lot of people find that extremely helpful. So that's number 6. Number 7 is something a phrase that I'm using a lot this year. It's be your big self. Be your big self. And I don't mean gain weight and be your huge self. I mean, be your big self. Be the best and the biggest you can be. Now, you know what I mean. All of us have, in the back of our mind, we have an image of us at our best. And sometimes we say, when I do this, then I'll write my book. Or when I do this, then I'll start that great business I was thinking about. Or when I do that, then I'll do this, That's your big self inside, crying to be out. Well, the time to be your big self is today, right now. Be your big self is my battle cry for 2015. You know what I mean. It means no more whining. Be a doer, not a dreamer, and that's number 7. Number 8 is don't be a weenie about the technology. I know you. I talk to a lot of our members, a lot of our subscribers. A lot of you are phobic, panicked, terrified with the technology that comes with having a successful voiceover career. So we do need to have a home studio, and if that can be as simple as having a really good USB mic and using it in a quiet corner of your room. It can be as simple, but you do need to know how to record yourself from home and edit sound files. It isn't difficult. I am not really a huge technology person. I learned how to do this. I studied it, I had people teach me, and I learned how to do it, and now I know. So number 8 is don't be a weenie about the technology. It's so simple, and in the Great Voice Challenge, which I'll be telling you about in a minute, we include coaching from my wonderful, awesome audio engineer, Christopher Fox. So he's going to teach that program with me. And this is a big GRITGR warning. Now, what is GRITGR? GRITGR stands for Getting Ready to Get Ready. And that's an excuse that people make about why they can't start their voiceover career. It's a blockage. So technology is a big one for people. I don't want that to happen to you. You need to stretch yourself. I promise you, it does get better. You'll struggle a little bit in the beginning. The more you work your way through it, it'll soon become second nature to you. You learned how to drive a car probably, right? Remember how it was in the beginning, and now it's like, you don't even think about it. Number 9 is don't try to do this alone. Leverage my 100,000 hours in the business. At least. Now, I've been doing this for years and years and years, as have my coaches, and they say, it takes 10,000 hours to achieve mastery. I started my voiceover career and, full-time in 1980s, way back before some of you were born. Believe me, trust me, it's at least 100,000 hours. So I know a thing or two about a thing or two. And when you work with us, when you work with me, when you take my Great Voice Challenge, you're getting access to 200,000 hours of learning and what works practically. So that's a huge hack. It's a huge time-saving thing for you. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't try to do this yourself. I mean, it'll be like 10 years from now before you get things going, and then the technology will change, and it's just going to be too late. So one of the things that I learned early on in my business was to work with experts, work with coaches, hire the best, work with marketing gurus, work with the best teachers. Boy, did that skyrocket my success. Saved a tremendous amount of time and frustration and energy. So don't try to do this alone. And for heaven's sake, don't produce your demo yourself. Those are what I call kitchen table demos. When you are working behind the mic, you're the actor. You can't be the producer at the same time. So that's another big tip that I have for you today. The next thing, and the 10th tip is get started today. Now, why should you get started today? Well, the reason is if you keep every day, you're here with me right now. I've kindled and I've ignited that voiceover dream that you have. For some reason, you're listening, you're watching me. So maybe people have been telling you your whole life you've got a great voice. Maybe your spouse has been bugging you to just do it. Maybe they dragged you in front of the computer today. Maybe you really have a dream. This for you would be the perfect money hop or side thing. Maybe you're on the runway to retirement and you think that this would be really cool. Like a lot of our students and our members and people in my Platinum program that are working with me exclusively for a year, where I give them the highest level of mentoring. I'm with them every step of the way. I build out an entire personalized strategy for them at the beginning of the year, and then I'm with them every month. I check in with them and make sure they're doing what we designed and helping them as they go along. I mean, that's the highest level of accountability. Or maybe you want to just get started and want that hand-holding in my Great Voice Challenge. And let me talk to you about this, because this is a really cool program we've got going. So what the Great Voice Challenge is that in 5 weeks, I get you started in your voiceover career. And here's how it works. So I've broken down getting started to a series of 5 simple steps. And over the next 5 weeks, starting next week, we're going to meet. You're going to get on a conference call with me, and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to get started. Now, you're not going to be alone. As I said, I've got checklists, I've got handouts, I've got worksheets. We've got we set up a Facebook group with people so that you have friends, you have peers that are doing it along with you. You've got to report in, you've got to hand in your checklists to show that you've done what you say you're going to do. All of the things you need to do to get started. Sing and setting up your home studio, to finding the right place in your home. I mean, there's a list and list of things you do, and it's so much fun. Now, what makes this really, really cool is that at the end of the 5-week program, you're gonna turn in the things that you've done. You're gonna turn in your completed checklist, send me audio, send me videos, and my staff and I go through them and we select the winner. The winner gets a $5,000 training package for free, and that package includes 5 private coaching sessions with one of our career launcher coaches. It includes a professionally produced demo that you will do in a studio near you, and you will be directed by one of our coaches, and we produce the whole thing for you. And it includes a ticket to any one of my 2015 3-day voiceover bootcamp recording studio immersion experiences. I mean, it's phenomenal, and it's a terrific, terrific package. Now, what I want to do right now is introduce you to the winner of my last Great Voice Challenge. His name is Omar Van Opstal, and he's from Chicago. And let me see if I can get him up here on the screen. Hey, Omar.
Hey, Susan. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. So, Omar, why don't you just tell people, because if I talk while you talk, you won't come up on the screen.
Okay.
Omar is talking to us from his home in Chicago, Illinois. He is live. And so, Omar, why don't we start out and you just tell people a little bit about yourself, what you do and why you were interested in getting into voiceover.
Yeah. So, funny enough, I went to a visual arts school downtown Chicago, and I've always been a visual artist and have always been at the fringe of performing artists. Even in college, I had a lot of friends that were theater majors, and they had broadcast majors. I went to Columbia. It's very much a communication school. And I've been doing freelance design for a while, and then I worked for a not-for-profit agency in Chicago that had 22 very large programs, served about 20,000 people a year. And I got promoted to a position where I was working partly with design, partly with communications and marketing. And within that position, it was great because I ended up bumping into a lot of DJs and TV hosts and people that were news anchor women and newsmen, and just so many amazing talented people in that field. And within that experience, was told by a number of people, you know, you're really good at both English and Spanish. You should consider doing voiceover or something like that. And so through those contacts and remaining in contact with them, it really propelled me to start to investigate things. And that's really how I stumbled across Great Voice Company. It was just online, looking up companies, looking up, you know, reviews and all sorts of things. And I heard a lot of great things about Susan Berkley and just her training. So came across you guys. Great Voice Challenge came along. I asked my wife, like, what do you think? Can I win this thing? Should I do it? And as I'm sure a lot of you feel, there's always a little bit of skepticism. You're online, you don't know what the true experience is because you're seeing first contact is online. But the more I delved into it, and the more I researched and thought about it, I really wanted to go for that dream, and I'm very thankful to Susan, to my voice coach. It brought me a long way since then.
Oh, that's great, Omar. So why don't you tell people a little bit about, because we met, with everybody in your class. This is the last challenge we did at the end of last year.
Right.
So we met weekly for 5 weeks, and for each of those classes there was a theme that I walked people through, and I had content, and I had handouts and checklists, and then you guys had homework. So talk a little bit, and then there was the Facebook group. So talk a little bit about what that experience was like, actually going through the class every week, the Great Voice Challenge.
Yeah, at first, there were a lot of questions, what about studio setup, about audio editing, demos, and all that. And really, the great thing about that whole Great Voice Challenge is, you have plans to go into voiceover. A lot of you might be thinking of it, but it really gets you into the nitty-gritty. What are the specifics of what goes on a demo? What are producers looking for? How do you contact producers? What is the lingo used? And then, basics with home studio. I started researching mics and preamps and things like that, and it really helped me solidify good acoustics in my home. And it's, I created a sound booth to help to enhance, the microphone, how it's receiving my voice. And Great Voice Challenge really pushed me to get to that level. And really, the Facebook page is great too, because you have a lot of people with varying skill sets and interests and different reasons why they want to go into voiceover. And you have such a broad spectrum of feedback. And so part of that Great Voice Challenge, you have people giving you feedback of where do they see you in the niches. There's 14 niche markets. Where do you fall in that? What do you vibe towards? What is your voice, the quality of your voice and the nature of your voice? What does it exude? And so I got a lot of great feedback from that group of people, and some of us still stay in contact. So it's a win-win, really.
Oh, that's great. That's terrific. So are we for real?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how is it? 6-7 months ago, sometime in September, October, it started, I believe, and from there to now, it's complete life change, because I went from no studio at home to having an audio booth, learning how to build it, getting the mic set up, getting audio set up, through the Great Voice Challenge, learning how to work with Persona Studio One, which, by the way, is absolutely free software. You just Google Persona Studio One, and learning how to work that program, and then all the feedback throughout those 5 weeks of the Great Voice Challenge, getting feedback from people, knowing what I should put on that demo, and then producing it the last few weeks of that challenge. And I'm telling you, it really is a win-win, because you have people giving you honest and sincere feedback. Some with experience, some who are newbies too, which is okay. And it really makes a path truly specific, because at the beginning you're wondering, where do I fit? What do I do with this? And through Susan's feedback and the training, you really find out what the trajectory is. Where do you take this specifically based on your giftings as a voice actor, as a person with your life experience? So, and one more thing I was going to say is, I did social work for 11 years. I've also been a visual artist. I've never, before this, aside from maybe working with some radio folks here and there, I really didn't have a lot of experience doing voiceover. And this gave me the courage to really put myself out there. And now, I'm meeting producers, I'm meeting people in communications. I already did an audiobook, which was a huge project starting out. which was scary, I'll say. Doing 27,000 words in 4 weeks flat it's a really daunting task, but I think with Susan's help and with her training and the feedback from others, it really gave me the courage to just step in there, jump in the ring, and throw the punches and see what comes out, and it really did help.
Oh, that's great, Omar. Thank you. And hang in there, because I want you to tell people also about the prize you won. So,
oh my gosh, yeah.
You got a free ticket, or whatever we want to call it, a free subscription to our Career Launcher program. Now, this is the basic training program that we offer. The real value of this is $5,000. It's actually $3,500 if you call our office, but it's got a $5,000 value, and that included 5 private coaching sessions with our Career Launcher coach. Yeah. You got your demo produced, and then you came to our last boot camp in December. Yeah. So let's talk about those one by one. What was it like having those 5 private sessions? You worked with one of our Career Launcher coaches, Adriana Davis, and you did that all by phone and Skype. What was that like?
So for starters, I didn't really know what to expect at first. I've never had a one-on-one private, vocal trainer, and so coming in, I had a lot of questions. What's this going to be like? What's the dynamic? And I mean, from the first day we talked over the phone, Adriana and I, we completely clicked, and she was super personable. Met me exactly where I was at. She'd already looked at some work that I'd done before. She looked at the content that I created from the Great Voice Challenge, evaluated it, and just said, okay, here's where you're at. This is your vocal range, and these are the commercials that I see you doing. And so throughout that whole 5 private sessions, within I think 2.5 months or so, we started to refine what would go on my demo based on vocal range. And even aside from what was natural to me, she was great at stretching me. Like she said, you're maybe not naturally the corporate voice, but these are some spots that I think you can nail if you train more, if you do the tape and ape, if you start imitating and really studying what's behind these corporate pitches. And so I started to work on some corporate reels or corporate vocal tracks as well as commercial, and yeah, she's fantastic. Adriana Davis has 25, 30 years experience, probably more, doing production, doing audio, so many different things.
Yeah, I mean, she's an award-winning producer.
Yeah.
She's not just a coach; she's a producer. So she's casting and things like that. So, and she loves it. She's like a fantastic, phenomenal coach. All right, so you worked for the 5 sessions with her, and then you went into you guys were preparing in those 5 sessions to do your demo, and then you went into a local recording studio, and she coached you. She was there in your headphone. Right. What was that process like?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing because. Well, so I'll backtrack a little. Through the Great Voice Challenge, which is a great part of the checklist, they have you go through which recording studios have a phone patch where you can communicate to your vocal coach from anywhere. They have you refine like which one is a sound stage that's particular to voiceover work. So I went through all of that, and I was ready with about 3 final recording studios to choose from. So Adriana and I are talking. I chose the final one. Talked with the audio engineer. Got there. He had all the mic levels set and everything. Gave me a tour. And Adriana told me, she said, if you nail this and you do really good read-throughs, it might land you work just from doing your recording for your demo. So I show up, and the guy's name's Ryan. He's like, yeah, I got all the script, or I got all your copy. We're ready to go. And I was with the phone patch with Adriana. She guided me through everything, and I was nailing some things within 2 takes. That's how good of a coach she is. She was getting me to the point where I can nail the copy within 2 takes, and at the end, Ryan was like, it sounded really good. Send it my way when you're done, and it's all produced. So all that to say, you never know what doors will open up.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a number of students who have gotten booked for work at their demo session. We can't promise that, but that's happened more than once. All right, so then you finished your demo, and actually we just produced it for you and sent you back your finished demo here. And then you came to our 3-day voiceover bootcamp recording studio immersion experience. And by the way, the next one's in March if you haven't been yet. What was that like, Omar? Would you recommend that people come and check that out? What was that like?
Absolutely. So it was great because I was able to fly to New York. They had the training in Avatar Studios. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but many famous musicians and top-notch voice artists have gone through there for their production. And so they had a really stellar sound booth there. We're working on Newman mics and all these high-end microphones. And we did a lot of read-through copy, just corporate commercial copy. And then Adriana Davis walked us through the whole field. I mean, what is voiceover? She's a producer, so she showed us exactly, what it is to, find talent, work with talent, the production stage, where we fall in the production stage as voice actors, and then they had us read at the mic, which by the way really helped me with preparing me for the day of my demo record, because it was a lot less intimidating to walk into that audio booth. And so it really does a good job just preparing you for the industry and really being more comfortable with copy breakdown and just interpreting what's the implicit conversation in these things. And so, yeah, it was great. I had a lot of fun with it. I think there were about 14 people or so in that group, all with different careers and age ranges and experience, and it was really a win-win because we learned a lot from each other.
Oh, that's great, Omar. We have a lot of fun at those camps. So here's what I'm going to do, Omar. I'm going to ask you to put your microphone on mute and hang with us for the rest of this hangout if you can. Just in case we have any further questions, we'll ask you to unmute. But what I want to, and I want to just assure everybody that at the end of this hangout, I'm going to be letting you know how you can get a copy of my notes and my handouts for today, because I know I'm going over a lot of stuff. But right now, I want everybody to go on over to greatvoicechallenge.com. There's a link right here on the page, because I want you to take a look. This program starts next week. It starts on, let's see, we're starting on the 21st, I believe, which is next Wednesday. We're going to go for 5 Wednesdays, consecutive Wednesdays, with everything that you need to know to kickstart your exciting new voiceover career. This program is going to cover how to prepare yourself for voiceover success in the first module. I mean, everything's right here on the page at greatvoicechallenge.com. How to attract clients. You know I love marketing, and that's my sweet spot, so I'm going to make sure you know how to get going and actually find work in voiceover. I know a lot of coaches leave that part out. That's the best of what I can do and what I can share with you, and that is included in this program. The third week, we're going to talk about how to go from wannabe to working voice talent in no time, finding the best voice buyers eager to work with you. We'll talk all about how to have a great demo, a wonderful website, your network, and on and on. I mean, it just goes on and on. I don't want to, everything's right here at greatvoicechallenge.com. Then we'll talk about the tools you need, your home studio, and how to set that up without spending a fortune. And then in the last class, I'm going to have Christopher Fox, our audio engineer, on the line with me, helping you out. Now, you might think that something like this would cost a fortune. It's so reasonable. It's $347. I mean, that to start a business that not only has the potential to bring you in some serious part-time income, but not to mention you really can't even put a price on the satisfaction that you're going to get. $347. I mean, that is so reasonable. There's an add to cart button right here on this page at greatvoicechallenge.com. Would you just click that and do this? Remember, this is the time, this is the year that you stop, being a dreamer to being a doer about voiceover. This is the day that you're going to take action. You met Omar. You know we're the real deal. You know about our reputation. We deliver. This is one of the best programs that I offer. It's one of our most popular programs, and there's a prize. I mean, you could be selected to win our career launcher package, which has a $5,000 value like Omar did. I mean, he's no different than you. You could be the winner. And that $347 investment could come back in spades. And look, even if you don't win the challenge, you are a winner because you did it. You took action. You let me hold your hand step by step, walk you through everything you need to do to start and succeed in voiceover. So this is a Q&A call. I've got some questions coming in. If you have questions to ask me, what I'd like you to do is email them to info@greatvoice.com. Mark will grab the question. He'll bring it into me. Please include your name and where you are, your city and your state, and a phone number in there. We can't take a question unless we have a phone number from you as well. But the first question that I have in my hand right now is from Jake at Voice by Jake, LLC. And Jake says, a little bit back when I started talking about different categories, getting back to analog, he wants to know, are there various parts of the voice acting industry that dictate the type of microphone that he should use? For example, if I'm working on a marketing copy, is there a certain type, analog versus digital, et cetera, et cetera? All right, so let's keep this really simple. Some of the more seasoned voice talents have various microphones for different uses, but let's just keep it simple. I want you to get a really good quality, two kinds of mics. Ultimately, you're going to start with a USB microphone, which plugs directly into your computer, and I'm telling you, they are making them really good these days. I have an Apogee mic that I really like. It's APOGEE. I take that on the road with me. Then here in the studio at Great Voice, I've got a voice booth, and I use an AKG 414. That is a top-of-the-line professional microphone that costs almost $1,000, and it requires a preamp. It is not recommended for a beginner, somebody just starting out. You're going to be just fine, Jake, with a really great-sounding USB microphone. When you go out into the voiceover world, later, so some people who do a lot of TV promos and things like that, they use a directional or shotgun mic. But again, that you're getting into a much more expensive investment that I don't recommend that beginners do. Later, as your career takes off, you can start upgrading your microphone. Okay, another question from Ingrid Campbell of Pittsboro, North Carolina. Hi, Ingrid. Thank you so much for joining me today. She was wondering what was the best way to market herself for telephony or IVR jobs. So Ingrid, you've been around a while, you know the industry lingo. So I'm the voice of Citibank and AT&T, and I do a lot of telephony work, which is voices for phone systems. And the way that we find that work is we actually work with phone system developers. And a great thing, you should be reading a publication which is called Speech Technology Magazine. So if you look in Speech Technology Magazine, you're going to start to get to understand the industry, and you'll find a lot of companies there that are developing products that might in the future need human voices for interactive voice response. So that's what I would suggest. Start by researching and reading Speech Technology Magazine. And let's see, the next one is from Courtney Ellis in Milford, Massachusetts. What sales and marketing books do you recommend for someone getting started? Oh, Courtney, you asked a great question because that is right after my own heart. And where can we get started? I mean, we could talk for days about sales and marketing books, but I'll tell you who some of my favorite authors are. Dan Kennedy is one of my favorite sales and marketing authors. You will not go wrong by purchasing any of his books. He's written like 10, 20 books. I think a great place to start is the No BS Guide. Let me see over there on my shelf. Get his Ultimate Sales Letter book. I think it's a great book. And any of his books in his No BS series are fantastic and fabulous for sales and marketing. And another one that really stood out for me last year was 80/20 Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. 80/20 Sales and Marketing is another great book you will love, Courtney. Great question. Thank you. Gina Smith of Reisterstown, Maryland wants to know, can you explain when you need an actual CD demo tape in hand as opposed to using an MP3 file? I'm confused. I wonder if you need to create an actual CD or if everything now is by MP3. And guess what, Gina? No more CDs. Keep it all digital. All you need when you record your demo is you're going to have the studio send you your completed the master, an MP3, a digital master, probably a WAV file actually, and you'll convert it to an MP3, and that's what you'll send to people. And it's great. It's cheap. You don't have to pay for CD duplications. You don't have to worry about the cover of the CD anymore. And that digital file will also go on your website as your demo. No more CDs. Don't worry about it. Nobody asks for those anymore. JJ Paris of Virginia Beach says, let's see, she has an opportunity to be a volunteer supporting PBS locally as a reader of materials for listening by the visually impaired. That's great, JJ. I love that. It seems like a good thing to do from a practice standpoint as well as doing a great service for contacts. So the questions are, any specific recommendations in approaching this opportunity as a reader for the visually impaired, and how does taking a non-paying opportunity like this affect the price you can ask when actually getting hired? Okay, so here we go. JJ, it's really hard to go from doing a free job to getting paid for that. I'm sorry, that's how it works. However, I really support people reading for the visually impaired, and let me tell you why. It's fantastic practice. Fantastic practice. You're practicing in action, doing something good for somebody, and all of that karmically, energetically is going to come back to you big time. So you might not, you'll find, and this is kind of woo-woo. Can I talk about woo-woo? I think I can. You might not actually get any return from the people in that volunteering to read for the visually impaired world, but energetically you're going to find that's really going to, you'll get some opportunities. I mean, it's a law of the universe. It has to come back to you. So should you read for the visually impaired? Yes. Should you expect to get money from that opportunity? Probably not, although it might be, you might be able to read some audiobooks for the blind. However, is it a good thing to do? Yes. And should you keep marketing yourself for paid opportunities? Yes. I hope that helps, JJ. Congratulations, and keep up the great work. And I really appreciate your service. So from Danny Jones. So Danny Jones was actually in our last Great Voice Challenge, and she came to our last boot camp, and she writes that I think what they did was they got a camper, and they are living on the road. She and her husband, they're down in Chiefland, Florida. She wants to know, would you recommend trying to contact the authors of new children's books and inquire if they'd be interested in having their book recorded? I love that. Hi, Danny. It's great to see you again. Yes, absolutely. So this is that kind of creative marketing that can pan out for you. So the question was, should she contact the authors of children's books to see if they want their audiobooks recorded? By all means, do it. And go through the publisher, and even to some of the children's book authors. You might find their budgets are limited, but hey, you might hit it. Here's another great idea, you guys. We do a lot of audiobooks for subject matter experts, for example, in the financial services professions, and we do those audiobooks, and we get paid really, really well for it. So I think you're on to something there, Danny. Congratulations on your move. Enjoy the Florida weather, and stay in touch. Let us know how you're doing. Again, guys, I'm over at greatvoicechallenge.com. I want to encourage you to sign up for the challenge, which starts next week. It's only $347, and this is money really, really well spent. And you've got a chance, like Omar, who you met a little while ago, to actually win our Career Launcher program, a $5,000 value. You're going to get private coaching. You could win your professionally produced demo. You could win a ticket to our famous voiceover bootcamp recording studio immersion experience. You heard from Omar a minute ago. This is for real. He did it, and he's already working. He's done his first audiobook, and he's got all this other work in the pipeline. So join me. You know, go to greatvoicechallenge.com, sign up. It starts next week, and you'll be part of a great group of people supporting you and helping you start your voiceover career step by step in 2015. So I got a question here from Richard Coley of Los Angeles. How does a voiceover class compare to an online voiceover class? So I guess what you mean, Richard, is how does studying online compare to actually going to a physical class? Well, I actually was one of the first people to innovate teaching voiceover by teleclass, by teleseminar. When I started my business, we were doing live classes in New York City, and we still do them quarterly. We do them. We're in studio in a recording studio in New York City, as Omar was saying, at Avatar Studios. It's one of the best studios in the country. So we do both, but I got to tell you, with Skype and telephone technology today, it's great. You absolutely can work with your coach remotely because you're over the phone. And frankly, Richard, when you are in the recording studio, you're working professionally, 9 times out of 10, the client isn't even there. The client is over the phone. You're hearing them through your headphones. So it's exactly the same process as working by Skype and phone with your coach. So as Omar said, it's worked out fantastic. We have now done, several hundred voiceover demos this way, where we've put people in our Career Launcher program. Our coaches, I've got 3 of them, not just Adriana Davis, Rose Tamburino, Randy Dean, experienced professionals, voice talent, producers, directors. They are expert at getting the best out of you working remotely. We've had tremendous, terrific results, and we've developed a process to help it be really effective for you. And when you come and you're taking my Great Voice Challenge, now we've now met. See, we're meeting face to face. You'll be on the phone with me for 5 weeks. I've got very explicit handouts. I've got checklists. Everything we do in the Great Voice Challenge is recorded. It's archived on the course site. I have it transcribed, so you have all the resources for you right there. It's actually a really terrific way to learn. Plus, you don't have to take the time to physically, get in your car, drive to a class, spend the gas, all that stuff. It's actually even more effective. Okay, so thanks for that great question out in LA. Now, Sherry from Chicago says she is so excited to start. She signed up a couple of days ago. Yay, Sherry, welcome aboard. Congratulations. She loves to travel, and South America is on her list. So I just got back from Brazil. Those of you who know me know I go to Brazil frequently, twice a year, and I take my voiceover business with me. That's right. And that's the dream of being in voiceover. You actually can work from anywhere, and I go because I have friends. I have a teacher down in Brazil, and I'm not going to let that stop me. So I don't miss a beat. So I love that. So Portable Studios, says Sherry, is possible these days. And once she has an established business, how realistic is it to be able to spend a month or 2 doing overseas work out of your regular office? It's completely realistic, Sherry. When I go on the road and I work from Brazil or anywhere I am, my clients don't know where I am. They don't need to know you're out of the country. So as long as you can meet their deadlines, as long as you have good internet connection, that's the key. You can work from anywhere. Isn't that cool? Okay, congratulations, Sherry. Yeah, I'll talk to you next week when we start the course. Yolanda Smith says, totally new to voiceover, really wants to learn more. How do I get the support from my husband to pursue this? Yolanda, I wish I could help. Actually, we've had a lot of people in the program that have had a similar challenge. Bring him along. Have him see what you're doing. Have him help you set up your home studio. Tell him you're going to start bringing more money into the household. He'll support you. It's very cute. Like, in our last Great Voice Challenge, I saw, Danny, who sent a question in a minute ago, actually had her husband there. She sent in pictures of him trying to set up their home studio. He'll come along when he sees you happy, Yolanda, and when he sees you starting to bring in some extra money, he's going to support you. It's great, and we work with total new beginners all the time. So don't be ashamed. Everybody needs to start somewhere, and next week will be your time. Go to greatvoicechallenge.com. Mark Carver says, and hey, Mark, it's great to have you again. Now, Mark's one of our students. How important is having your own website? What about the various free website building options such as Wix.com or Web.com? I've seen those lately. Look, here's the deal, you guys. Don't make a big deal about your website. You need one? Keep it really, really simple. You can set up a free YouTube site. You can go on YouTube and just set up your own website right there. It's free. Hang your demos there. That's all people care. They just want to be able to hear your demo. I do think, Mark, you should take out a URL. You should own markcarver.com and just build a really simple site. I can't speak to Wix.com. I don't know what they offer and what their charges are. But keep it simple. Guys, go to SusanBerkleyVO.com or SusanBerkley.com, Berkley. You'll see my site. It's very simple. It does the trick. All right? Don't make a big deal out of it. Next up from Brenda. Hey, Brenda Desjardins from our last boot camp. Hey, Brenda, I'm so happy to hear you here today. She wants to know what's the best way to learn how to price our work. Brenda, if you go back to your material from the boot camp, I talked about that during marketing day on the third day. If you're still having questions, contact us and we'll get you. It's in your handout from the boot camp. The best way to learn how to price the work is to work with somebody like me who can walk you through it step by step. So Brenda, because you came to the boot camp, it's in your notes. We can direct you. I can help you. It's a little tricky. You do want to make sure you work with, you get a pro's advice, because I don't want you to undersell what you can do. And you're good, Brenda. I heard you behind the mic. All right, next up, Greg Geller from Israel. Hey, Greg. Shalom. Really happy to have you. We also had somebody from India call in. So Greg says, 2 questions. How do I know what genre best fits my voice? Should I accept a job for little to no money for the sake of the experience, or is that not a good message to send people who think voice actors come cheap? Okay, great questions, Greg. Let's talk about those right now. How do I know which genre best fits my voice? The answer, Greg, is you don't know. You really don't know until you get into the business. The market will tell you. In working with a coach and working with somebody like me, if you take the Great Voice Challenge, that is something that's part of it. We do have a process that we go through where your classmates and I will help give you some ideas about what your best niche might be. But in my own case, I thought, for example, that I would do commercials, but once I started my career, as I got into action, the market told me it wanted me for phone systems. Well, I wasn't going to complain. It's been really good to me. So the answer is, Greg, you know by getting some advice from your coach, and you have other people help you to tell you what they think, and then the market will tell you as you go along where you should be. You just got to start. Number 2 is, should I accept a job for little money as a way to get started? I call that, Greg, training wheel rates. I say no. Now look, if a friend comes to you, wants you to do something to get some experience, please do it. Don't worry about it. But don't think that if you start, like for example, doing a job for $25 just to get started, that somehow you'll parlay that into more success. From the very first job that I booked was a national network spot. They didn't know I'd never done this before. I booked the job and I got paid the same as somebody with 20 years experience. So I think that you should start with rates that are, a little bit even higher than average. You're not going to really price yourself out. But starting doing work, for free or really low cost is really not a great strategy. So I say no. And that's why you, Greg, need to join the Great Voice Challenge, because these are exactly the kinds of things that we're going to deal with. GreatVoiceChallenge.com. And by the way, on that page, at the end, I'm going to tell you in a little bit, if you stay to the end of the hangout, how to get my notes from today. Got another question here from Shelly Sherman, great name, who says, after 35 years of being a rock and roll DJ, I've been transitioning to VO narration. Hey, Shelly, I don't know if you didn't say if you were a Mr. or a Ms. I also was in radio 15 years. I was a rock and roll DJ too. I made that transition into radio, so I understand. So Shelly says, what do you suggest is the best course of action to be in making sure I'm consistently on the right track? Okay, here's the deal, Shelly. The problem radio people have, and again, I know because I was one, is radio, you kind of have a little bit of an announcer sound in your voice. I haven't heard you, so I can't speak to that. But if you've got a 35-year track record, you probably have a bit of a broadcaster sound, probably. So the first thing you'll need to do is really work and have to develop more of an acting-based approach to voiceover. So it's not just like reading scripts that you would or being on the radio. Really, radio is more about voice acting than it is about announcing. Being an announcer is kind of like the kiss of death. So I do suggest that you work with a coach like you would find in our Career Launcher program, and that's really, really going to help you make that transition, because you can do it. I mean, you've got the chops. You have a home studio. You say you want to do audiobooks, so this is going to be key that you develop a more actorly sound. You say, you're getting a steady stream of work. Good for you, dude or lady. Shelley, Mr. or Mrs. Shelley. And you do love that. That's great news. And we now need to get you national work or lots more audiobooks because it seems to be where you want to go. We can help. GreatVoiceChallenge.com is where you start. And you can also possibly win my career launcher package like Omar did, who you met a little while ago. I mean, how cool is that? That's like $5,000 worth of training. You could win as just by being part of the challenge. I mean, you know, Omar didn't think he'd win, and he did. So that could be you, too. So listen, I've got some more I want to talk to you about. And if you have a question for me, you better get it in because we're only going to be together like another 25, 30 minutes. Send to info@greatvoice.com, and Mark will hand it to me, and I'll circle back. But I wanted to go over the state of the voiceover union. I mean, it's the beginning of the year, and we really need to kind of take the temperature of this business. And you know what? I have really good news for you. Voiceover is strong, maybe even, stronger than ever, and I'll tell you why. Because of all the new media out there. My goodness, the opportunities online are endless. So now, not only do we have commercials on broadcast, TV and radio, almost nobody goes there anymore. It's all online, and it's unlimited bandwidth, and things talk to you more than ever. So really, really strong future for the voiceover business. It isn't going anywhere. Now I want to tell you what the top 4 niches are that I think where you'll find the best success. So Shelley wants to get into audiobooks. That's a big one. That's a big one. And it's not for everybody. It is not for everybody. Those books they take a lot of time and a lot of editing, and it's not the top paying kind of voiceover work. But if your heart's in it, if you think you would love to do it, and you can make a pretty nice income, audiobooks is really booming. It's booming. Go on over to acx.com to learn about that opportunity, the Audiobook Creation Exchange. Second huge niche is video games, and it's not just shoot 'em up anymore. It's not just, what do they call, Grand Theft Auto and things like that. Video games, huge, growing, all types of voices are needed. The third niche that I think is really a good one is e-learning. So e-learning is not just instructional within corporations now. These are corporate websites, explainer videos, which is a brand new thing that you see everywhere. Those little animated videos that explain about a company. Huge opportunity for beginners getting into the business now. And then, of course, commercials. We talked about that. It's not just TV and radio. It's also online. So the voiceover industry is really strong. However, there's an enemy. There's a danger you need to know about. And that enemy is what I call commoditization. It's a big word. It means because there's so many people trying to get into voiceover now, wanting to get into voiceover now, there are people that'll do this work like I think it was Greg in Israel, for dirt cheap, right? $25, $5 even. You don't want to play that game because, believe me, there's plenty of customers out there that are extremely nervous about hiring low-cost voice talent. I mean, when you go to buy something, you don't buy the cheapest shoes, you don't buy the cheapest car. You buy the thing that's going to get the job done. Sometimes you buy for status. But what you really buy for is trust. You got to buy from somebody that you trust. And if you're buying the lowest price thing, there's some like inherent distrust built in. Because if it's cheap, what's wrong with it, right? Is that person going to be reliable? So you absolutely can charge a good rate if you're reliable, if you're trustworthy, if you're easy to work with, if your audio is 100%, broadcast quality all the time. These are the things that allow you to charge a really good rate for your work. There are still voiceover artists making, really, really good livings at this. Why not be among them? So, but the enemy is those voice talent shopping malls. I mean, look, Voices.com and Voice123 are great companies. I know the owners. They do a great service for people, and that you sign up, you get tons of auditions. But you're in a shopping mall with 4,000 other voice talent. And so you see, some customers don't mind. They're bargain shoppers. They'll go in there and, you know, they'll pick a talent, and it's a little bit of a price war. I don't want to play in that game. I've never played in that game. I want to work with the people that want a quality talent that they can rely on, that don't have the time to go into a voice talent shopping mall to pick somebody. They don't know if that person's going to be any good. And you, as the voice talent, absolutely can't compete with that quantity. So I say, look, I think it's good to do pay per play because you're going to get experience, you're going to get auditions, you might just book something. A lot of people do. However, you must have a customized marketing program set up that you're working on a day by day, week by week basis. That's where I shine. That is what I offer you as somebody who wants to get into this business. I have literally taken thousands of potential of new and emerging voice talent through my marketing programs, and they're working, they're succeeding, they're successful. So the Great Voice Challenge is a way that we can get started working together for such a reasonable amount. I mean, it's $347 for a really great 5-week class with the potential for you to win my $5,000 training package. So, you know, this is a total no-brainer, you guys. If you're serious about voiceover in 2015, you need to go to greatvoicechallenge.com. It's right on your screen, right at the beneath my video here. Click the Add to Cart button and join me. I mean, we start the 21st next week, and we'll spend 5 weeks together. If your schedule's full and you can't make any of the classes, no worries, because everything is recorded, everything is archived on the course site. I've transcribed it. I'm making this so easy for you. Plus, you get to go onto our private Facebook site. You'll be networking with the other people in the class, and they'll be supporting you. And, you know, you could be the winner of a demo, a ticket to the boot camp, and 5 private coaching sessions. But even if you don't win that, you win because you took action, you started, you've got my guidance, you've got my best practices. I'm holding your hand. I'm going to make sure that you're successful. You look good and we look good here at the Great Voice Company. You see our reputation online. We put together good stuff. This is not all we do, by the way. We have a production company here. I'm a working voice talent. I'm a voice of Citibank. I've got a huge roster of customers that I work with, and I'm doing that. I do a lot of corporate training where I help sales organizations with their. Yeah, I'm a real entrepreneur. So when you work with us, you're working with a real business, and that's where I come from. I want you to be successful. And all you need to do is say yes. Take this really no risk for you here. So it's greatvoicechallenge.com is the website. And I don't know if we have any questions. I'm going to assume that we don't because Mark is not running in here handing me any questions. So I've really answered the ones that you have. Now I want to tell you, because I've given you a lot of information. I did put a handout together. I promised that I would give my notes to anybody that stuck to the end of the call. So what you're going to do, as soon as we hang up, give me about maybe half an hour from now, you will see my notes from today's class right up on greatvoicechallenge.com, which is where you go to take advantage of this opportunity. The shopping cart's going to be open. We're going to leave it open through the end of Monday. I know Monday's a holiday. Maybe you need to talk to a spouse or, get the money together. No problem. I'll give you till 5 o'clock Monday. Then it is closed. The challenge is closed. Registration is closed. And we start next week on Wednesday for 5 weeks. We're working together, step by step, side by side. I'm holding your hand. I'm walking you through everything you need to know to start your voiceover career. It's the next best thing to me physically coming to your house, setting up your studio, making sure you do this. Because look, I'm going to give you a challenge right now. If you're not going to take this step, which is so simple and easy, I don't want to hear any more whining. Stop calling yourself a voice talent. Stop saying that you want to do voiceover. I have made it so easy for you right now. Because if you don't take this step, you're full of it. I'm sorry. Don't hate me because I put you on the line there. But I'm giving you everything. There's never been simpler and easier for you to get started right now. This is one of our most popular programs. We've done the challenge now. This is like the 4th one we're doing. People love it. And frankly, I love teaching it. I've got such a great group of people. Oh, Mark just sent another question in. This is from Inder in Marlborough, Mass, who says, what are the chances, oh, I love this question, what are the chances for a person who doesn't have the American accent for the English language? Now, Inder, I don't know what language you speak. My first suggestion for you is that you make a demo in your native language. Here at the Great Voice Company, we do a lot of work with non-native speakers of English. And so that would be my first, rather than trying to acquire an American accent, do a demo in your native language. You'd be surprised, it's a global world, that there is work there. I mean, we do work in like some of the most, unusual languages. Haitian Creole, I mean, it's not an unusual languages, but what did we do recently? I think some Egyptian Arabic, for example, very, very specific. All the Asian languages. We do a lot of work in Spanish. Like Omar, who you met, is going to be a bilingual voice talent. His English is flawless, but so is his Spanish. So he's like two people in one, and maybe Inder, that could be you too. So guys, it's greatvoicechallenge.com. Please join me. I really, really want to work with you. I can help you overcome a lot and really enhance your year ahead. You know, I really, you see, I'm sincere. I love to work with you and help you. And that's really all I got to say. Now, the ball's in your court. Go to greatvoicechallenge.com, click Add to Cart, join us. Check back there in about half an hour, and you're going to see the notes from today. And I think we're done, actually. I'm going to say goodbye if I can figure out how to turn this off. Christopher, come on in. I lost the screen. I'm going to turn off this because I can't disconnect. And I'm going to be broadcasting, going humana, humana, humana. So Chris, if you're watching, come on in. GreatVoiceChallenge.com. Coming in, disconnect. Can you ask Chris to come on in and oh, I've got a question. So I'm sorry, I mentioned Wednesday. So the Great Voice Challenge starts this Thursday, January 22nd. It's not. It's Thursday. Michelle, you were so nice. You corrected me, Michelle Henry. So the Great Voice Challenge starts Thursdays, January 22nd, and it goes for 5 weeks. 5 weeks, starting January 22nd. We meet at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. You can't make those dates. Please, please, just sign up anyway because everything is recorded. Yeah, Chris, come on in. I lost the screen here because I'm done.
Okay.
And I want to turn off and say goodbye to everybody. Mwah! Starting this Thursday, the 22nd, join us, greatvoicechallenge.com. That's the correct date. Okay, good. So now I'm done, and I want to thank you for sharing the time with me, and check back here on this page. You'll get my notes. We start this Thursday, next Thursday, actually, January 22nd, my brother's birthday. And I love you guys. Till we meet again, be well.